Hi everyone, I'm Carol Keller, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Illinois in the US, and I'm coming to you today with my video that's part of my bundle bonus for the month of June. What's bundle bonus? Well, if you buy the bundle from me by the end of this month, you will receive the components to make this card in the mail. I have also designed 2 other cards using this bundle, so if you watch my playlist, you will see how to put those together as well. Although I will not send you the components for those in the mail, you'll still have some ideas. I also will give you a PDF that has photos of other projects that have been done by some of my fellow Stampin' Up! Demonstrators. Let's get started with the project. This month's bundle for bundle bonus is the Hello Ladybug bundle, which consists of the Hello Ladybug stamp set and the Ladybug Builder Punch. If you purchase them as a bundle, you get 10% off. And if you purchase them from me before the end of the month, I will send you the components to make this card. I really had fun playing with this. I wanted to use the daisies because I found out, I wanted to use the daisies from the set because I found out that the daisy punch, our medium daisy punch that's in the annual catalog, cuts those daisies out. So that was a bit of serendipity. I'd actually heard that from another demonstrator, or I thought I did. And when I checked it out for myself, I found it to be true. So again, if you purchase the bundle from me, I will send you the components to make this card. You will have your choice of embellishments because, as you'll see, I'm going to change it up just a little bit. I'm going to change a couple of things on this card, and that gives you a couple of ways to complete the card yourself. So I'm starting off with a basic white card base. And we're going to start off with some stamping. With Bermuda Bay, we're going to stamp that wonderful leaf. And we're going to do that first because sometimes dark colors take a little longer to dry, especially when there's that much ink, which there will be. And I re-inked this recently, so I want to make sure it's inked, but hopefully not overdone. Gotta get every spot with ink though. It's one little air bubble that's not cooperating. Let's see if we can get that. Because I want the veins in that leaf to show. So I think I'm actually going to do a practice one because I have a feeling there may be too much ink on that. So I'm going to bring this in and practice. Oh, maybe it's not too bad. Let's see. Ah, that's pretty good. All right, so I know if I get a good covering of ink, it should look good on the card because, like I said, I want that the wonderful veins to show. All right, I've got some good ink coverage. Actually, a little more here. Not bad. I'm gonna press it in the middle. Oh, that's gonna look good. Get pressing it in the middle just to make sure that that whole stamp, that the ink is all applied to the card, and then lift it, and the veins look pretty good, especially, like I said, given that I re-inked it. What I did do to help it is I usually keep a plastic spoon handy, and I kind of push the ink in a little bit to help with that. So there was less on the surface, and so that the detail in my stamp would show, because that was really important. We're also going to stamp the sentiment while we have the Bermuda Bay out, the one that's going to go inside the card and outside. So for inside, it says, "May your greatest wish come true." And we're just going to stamp that here. And then we're also going to stamp the sentiment on the front in Bermuda Bay on Daffodil Delight. On the front, it just says "My Friend." And I'm going to use the smaller oval so I know it'll fit here. And we're going to punch that out. But before we do that, while we have the Bermuda Bay, and while this is drying a little bit, I actually used the white glittered Organdy ribbon that came out, I think, last fall and continued into the annual catalog. But of course, we're going to color it. So I'm going to bring in that scrap again. And this time, actually, instead of my ink, you could use ink. You could actually dip it in here and press it down with a sponge dauber, or I would maybe just put like a rubber glove or something, disposable glove on my finger so that it wouldn't get all inked up. So you could use your ink pad for that, but I am going to use my Stampin' blend because it will dry a little more quickly, a little more easily, and it will be less likely to transfer to other surfaces. That is the problem with using the ink or the Stampin' Write markers. But if you use the blend, you should be all set. So all I'm doing is taking the thick end and putting my marker pretty much parallel to the table and rubbing it along for however long I want to make my ribbon. And we're just going to fold it over, making sure I get those edges, maybe a little bit more. And like I said, it pretty much dries right away. I'd say that's about a good loop, maybe a tiny bit more, because we can always cut off if there's excess, but if it's too short, that is a problem. So we'll do just a little bit more. And that's enough to loop over. So I'm going to take my paper snips and snip it at an angle. And then we'll set that aside too. But see, there's no real ink on my hands. I think this ink is actually from the ink pad and not from the blend. And we'll do the rest of our stamping. So inside, we're going to take Flirty Flamingo ink, and we're going to stamp the little flower grouping that comes with the set. And we'll stamp that in the corner. And we will also grab an envelope and stamp it in the corner there as well. Don't forget to do something on the envelope. And then while we have the Flirty Flamingo out, we're going to take some Flirty Flamingo cardstock and we're going to stamp the daisy. And we're going to stamp it twice. I did it once and I felt that it wasn't full enough, so I stamped it a second time. And normally I would say if you're stamping, you want to make sure that your stamp is going to line up with your punch. So in this case, you should have a petal that goes kind of directly north and south. But I'm not worried about that this time, and I'm going to show you why. This is one of the changes I'm going to make with this card. I've got my Flirty Flamingo stamped. We're done with the ink, that ink anyway. And now I liked the daisies here, but then I had a different idea, since actually you can't see it because I put the embellishments over it, but the ink is darker than the cardstock. And so there was a nice little space in the middle, but then I decided to cover that with an embellishment anyway. But it gave me the idea of what would it look like to do a variegated daisy. And the way I did it, I lined it up with that. You want to make sure that the flower is in the center of your punch. But I then made it so that the petals showed maybe half or a little more of the ink, and plus showed the other half, so it gives a variegated look. And I did that with all of these daisies, so you can decide which one you like better. So again, line it up in the middle. Oh, and that looks pretty good right there. So I've got some variety in color. Maybe we'll do a little bit more. And then we just put those together with glue dots, with a glue dot. And it's funny, on every single set, I had the white part on opposite sides of the petals, and not on purpose. So if you rewind the video, you'll see that I turned the punch apparently one way. Where's my dot? There it is. And then the other. So if that is a problem for you, just make sure you turn them both the same way, but I did not worry about that. So I did the rest of my daisies already in all of the colors and did the same thing. And I really like this. I like this a lot. I think it's even better than what I had on my original card. So I'm really happy with that. I wish the Poppy Parade showed a little more of the variation in color than the other ones do, but I still like it. So this is Poppy Parade, Coastal Cabana, which is very close to Bermuda Bay. The color is very close, but it is a tiny bit different. Flirty Flamingo, as we just did, Gorgeous Grape, and Daffodil Delight. So those are all the colors I used. And the only thing we have left to assemble is our little ladybug. So I've got a scrap basically of basic black. And I'm gonna bring in my punch and just punch out the body. So I'm gonna move it over to one side, making sure that I see black all throughout the body, and punch it out. You could also stamp it in black on white, but I decided I did not want, that would leave you with a little bit of an outline, and I didn't want that, so I just did the whole thing in black. We're gonna put that punch aside because we have a little more stamping to do, this time for the wings. So I do have a scrap of basic white for that. I decided that having the outline was a good thing for this. But if you wanted to, you could stamp it on, yes, you could stamp it on Poppy Parade, in Poppy Parade, because the black would still cover up the color. But I decided to do it on basic white. So for the wings, and it doesn't matter for this because the strip fits in, boy, I do have a lot of ink on me today. The strip will fit in to the punch. Either way, it's very narrow. But if you really want to save, if you have a wide strip, then you're going to want to stamp over toward the right this way, this way, because that's how it's going to fit in the punch. And if you stamp it over toward the right, you won't get waste getting cut off here. So I'll show you that in a minute, but that is how I'm going to stamp it. So I'm going to grab my Poppy Parade, move that punch out of the way for a minute, and ink it up. Almost getting to the point of needing to re-ink, so I want to make sure I have good coverage. That looks pretty good, and I'm just going to stamp it, give it a good press, and then I'm going to bring in Memento Black and the detail, the little dots that go on the wings. And so we'll ink that up in Memento Black. And to line them up, I hope I can do this without putting my head over and still getting it in the right place, but you can basically see with the photopolymer stamp where the holes are, and you just line it up with those, and it comes out perfectly because you can see what you're doing. So hopefully my head wasn't in the way and you saw that. And I believe that is all of our stamping. And we'll punch this out. We're going to bring that punch back in. And as I said, if you line it up, there's hardly any waste over on the body side of the ladybug. So I'm just going to tilt it my way so I can line it up and then show you that I have it lined up. Once I'm happy with how the placement is, I punch it out. And yeah, nothing came off the other side. So if I had a wider piece of paper, I would want the scrap to the left so that there's no waste. Hopefully that makes sense. And for the ladybug, I just use glue dots to put the wings on the body. You could also use your Stampin' Seal. I did that. This is the second card that I've done, and I've got another one planned actually. So I used my Stampin' Seal for the last one, but I decided to use glue dots for this one. And again, talking about making other cards, if you participate in my bundle bonus, not only will I send you the components to the card, but you will have, I will send you a PDF of projects done by, including this one and some of my fellow demonstrators that I'm in a group with. Some of them will have YouTube videos, mine will have videos. So if you get the PDF, you will have pictures so you can see how to make the cards, and in some cases a video. For me, once you watch my YouTube video on this card, just continue with the playlist and you'll see other videos showing you how to make the other cards. So then you'll have lots of options. All right, I hope that makes sense. Oh, let's do the last of our punching. We'll bring in, for this, the double oval punch. And so I'm just, again, centering this and then punching it out. And again, not too much waste because there wasn't cardstock on the top. There wasn't too much extra. And then I'm bringing in, this is Daffodil Delight, and then Gorgeous Grape for the large one. And so it's a nice way to use up scraps to make all the components for this card. And then I will layer these with my Stampin' Seal. And we'll just center it here. And for the ribbon, I'm again bringing in my glue dots, and we'll put one in the middle to hold it together, maybe a little bit long, and then one on the front end, again in the middle, because that's going to be hidden behind our tag. Let's see. Yeah, that may be, well, I think we'll leave it like that. We'll leave it a little bit larger. And we'll put that on at the end. First, we're going to put on our flowers. So all I did was kind of lay them out. And I'll lay them out in the same order that I did here. Oh, I really like the two-tone of the flowers. I hope you do too. And again, I wanted it in a straighter, more of a straight line. So that looks pretty good. And then I just started, all I did was put a glue dot or two on the center in the back because I want them to be dimensional. I want the daisies to be dimensional. And you can always twist. Sometimes they get off just a little bit. You can play with those. And I'm not going to press anything down till I'm finished and happy with the placement, since everything does get a little bit out of alignment when you are moving them around to put your adhesives on. And so now I'm just going to check for spacing and alignment. Like that one needs to move, but I think they look pretty good other than that. So I'm going to press them down. And you can still move the petals around a little bit on the top layer. And our Ladybug, I'm going to bump up with some dimensionals. And the same thing for our tag. So I've got a dimensional behind the head. And you could use the black dimensionals for this also. It doesn't really matter, either one would work. And then behind this one, I overlap it with the ribbon just a little bit to help hold it down. And then we'll take the backings off, and we've got our little ladybug here on the leaf. And then our tag. So yeah, we have, let me see, I may want to change this up just a little bit. Let's see if we can reposition, because it's a little bit tall. And I don't want it being too much out of the edge of the card. Yeah, I think that's better. And so I'm going to trim the ends just a little bit. Again, better too long than too short. Yeah, that looks better. All right, and now for embellishments. This time I decided I would try the Iridescent Rhinestone Basic Jewels. And for that I need my Take Your Pick tool. And I'm going to use their 3 sizes, small, medium, and large. And I think I'm going to use the medium ones. And just put them in the center. Because the fact that they're smaller, you can still see, again, they are kind of outlined with the center flower. And I like that. Oh, I like that too. So again, if you purchase the bundle from me, you have your choice of embellishments. You can use those iridescent rhinestone basic jewels, or you can use the flowers adhesive-backed trinkets, and they actually come in 3 colors: gold, champagne, which is what I used on this card, and silver. So 2 wonderful choices. Either one will work. I think they both look good. They give them the cards a slightly different look, each one. So just personal preference. And that is it. That is our card for today. Thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate you watching, and I appreciate your comments. Let me know in the comments which way you like the daisies better and which embellishment you like better. If you do want to order the bundle from me, reach out to me so that I can give you the host code for this month. And stick around for the rest of my YouTube channel. I not only have other videos for the Hello Ladybug bundle, but I also have other cards, scrapbook pages. I do paper pumpkin alternatives every month. I have some home decor items, some tips and techniques, lots there to hopefully inspire you. So take a look at all of those things, and I will see you again soon. Happy stamping!